धीमहि यो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, करुणामय पालय मां, करुणामय पालय मां। हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, करुणामय पालय मां, करुणामय पालय मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, करुणामय पालय मां, करुणामय पालय मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, हे प्रेम रूप श्री रामकृष्ण, करुणामय पालय मां, करुणामय पालय मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, हे दीनबन्धु श्री शारदेश, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां, मम प्राणप्रिय पाहि मां। ॐ श्री रामकृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्रीनिवासा गोविन्दा, श्री रामकृष्ण गोविन्दा, श्रीनिवासा गोविन्दा, श्री रामकृष्ण गोविन्दा, पूर्ण पुरुष गोविन्दा, पंडरीवासा गोविन्दा, पूर्ण पुरुष गोविन्दा, Krishna Govinda, Apat Pandava Govinda, Anatha Rakshaka Govinda, Apat Pandava Govinda, Anatha Rakshaka Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Tirupati Vasa Govinda, Tirumalai Vasa Govinda, Tirupati Vasa Govinda, Tirumalai Vasa Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Govinda Hari Govinda, Gopala Hari Gopala, Govinda Hari Govinda, Gopala Hari Gopala, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Purana Purusha Govinda, Pandarivasa Govinda, Apat Pandava Govinda, Anatha Rakshaka Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Tirupati Vasa Govinda, Tirumalai Vasa Govinda, Govinda Hari Govinda, Gopala Hari Gopala, Govinda Hari Govinda, Gopala Hari Gopala, Gopala Hari Gopala, Gopala Hari Gopala,
Govinda Hari Govinda,
Gopala Hari Gopala,
Govinda Hari Govinda,
Gopala Hari Gopala,
Govinda Hari Govinda,
Gopala Hari Gopala,
Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda,
Srinivasa Govinda, Sri Ramakrishna Govinda, Om Shri Ramakrishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Mahadeva Shambho, Shankar Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho, Shankar Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho, Shankar Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva पराशक्ति माता जय जय पराशक्ति माता पराशक्ति माता जय जय पराशक्ति माता पराशक्ति माता जय जय पराशक्ति माता महादेव शंभो शंकर महादेव शंभो 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 पराशक्ति माता जय जय पराशक्ति माता 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 महादेव शंभो शंकर महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो शंकर महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो शंकर महादेव शंभो ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय रुरे गर्भे रमे च देवी अंबिका रे रुरे गर्भे रमे च देवी अंबिका रे एनी तारी परे च त्रण लोक मारे एनी तारी परे च त्रण लोक मारे रुरे गर्भे रमे च देवी अंबिका रे गर्भो जोवाने गणपति આવ્યા રે ગરબો જોવાને ગણપતિ આવ્યા રે સાથે રીતિ સિદ્ધિ ને લાવ્યા રે સાથે રીતિ સિદ્ધિ ને લાવ્યા રે હૃદય ગર્ભે રમે છે દેવી અંબિકા રે બ્રહ્મલોકમાંથી બ્રહ્મ જોવા આવ્યા રે બ્રહ્મલોકમાંથી બ્રહ્મ જોવા આવ્યા રે સાથે દેવી બ્રહ્માલીને લાવ્યા રે સાથે દેવી બ્રહ્માલીને લાવ્યા રે હૃદય ગર્ભે રમે છે દેવી અંબિકા રે સ્વર્ગલોકમાંથી ઇન્દ્ર જોવા આવ્યા રે સ્વર્ગલોકમાંથી ઇન્દ્ર જોવા આવ્યા રે સાથે દેવી ઇન્દ્રાણીને લાવ્યા રે સાથે દેવી ઇન્દ્રાણીને લાવ્યા રે હૃદય ગર્ભે રમે છે દેવી અંબિકા રે કૈલાસમાંથી શંભો જોવા ઉતર્યા રે કૈલાસમાંથી શંભો જોવા ઉતર્યા રે સાથે પાર્વતીને તેડી લાવ્યા રે સાથે પાર્વતીને તેડી લાવ્યા રે હૃદય ગર્ભે રમે છે દેવી અંબિકા રે વૈકુંઠમાંથી વિષ્ણુ જોવા આવ્યા રે વૈકુંઠમાંથી વિષ્ણુ જોવા આવ્યા રે સાથે લક્ષ્મીજીને તેડી લાવ્યા રે हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री महाकाली महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती श्री दुर्गा मात की जय।
I prostrate to Sri Ramakrishna, who is the embodiment of all the gods and goddesses, revered Pravrajika Ishta Pranamataji and loving devotees of God. Om Namo Narayanaya. This morning's reading is on Ramchandra Datta and is taken from the book entitled They Lived with God by Swami Chaitanananda. Faith and devotion are two important milestones on the path towards God. Faith removes worry, anxiety, and fear, while devotion makes life smooth and joyous. Human life becomes very painful and burdensome if a person has no one to trust and love. Spiritual seekers who put their trust in God and love Him wholeheartedly surrender themselves to Him, and as a result, God takes care of them. Ramchandra Datta, a householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, had unflinching faith in the Master, and his love and devotion for him were exuberant. He used to say that any place Sri Ramakrishna visited, even for a day, became a holy place, and that whoever came to the Master and served him once was blessed. Ramchandra Datta was born in Calcutta on October 30th, 1851. His father was devoted to Sri Krishna, and his mother was known for her kindness. Ram imbibed all of these good qualities from his parents. When he was 2.5 years old, his mother passed away, and thereafter some women relatives in the home looked after him. Ram's favorite pastime when he was young was to worship Sri Krishna. From his boyhood, Ram was very bold and straightforward. Eventually, Ram's father remarried, but Ram did not get along with his stepmother. Shortly after the marriage, Ram's father was forced to sell the parental home due to financial difficulties, and Ram moved to a relative's home. Although Ram suffered various kinds of hardships in his early life, he persevered in his education. Ram was deeply interested in science and studied chemistry. After his graduation, he got married and bought a house in Simla. The death of his young daughter was a terrible shock to Ram, and a great change came over his life. On the evening of Kali Puja, some time after his daughter's death, he went up to the roof of his house. His grief-stricken heart seemed to be searching for something meaningful. All of a sudden, he noticed some clouds passing and disappearing. Ram asked himself, where do they come from, and where do they go? Does God exist? If so, can He be seen? He visited different religious leaders of the Brahmo, Christian, and Hindu faiths, but no one could answer his questions about God and religion. During this time, Ram's family guru came to his house and wanted to initiate him. Ram was forthright and told the guru that he didn't believe in God and His existence. The guru kept quiet, not knowing what to say. Ram became more and more determined to have his doubts removed and to satisfy his hunger for God. At last, he came to know about Sri Ramakrishna from the writings of Chandra Sen, a Brahmo leader of Calcutta. On November 13th, 1879, Ram went by boat to Dakshineshwar with Gopal Chandra Mitra and a cousin. As soon as they reached the Dakshineshwar temple garden, they inquired about Sri Ramakrishna and were directed to his room. Ram noticed that Sri Ramakrishna did not look like the traditional ochre-clad monk with matted hair and ash smeared on his body. On the contrary, the master was the embodiment of simplicity. From the very beginning, Sri Ramakrishna made Ram his own and would often inquire about his personal life and mental conflicts. Ram felt greatly attracted to the master and started to visit him every Sunday. Soon Ram felt bold enough to ask the questions that had been haunting him. Ram was very much moved and impressed with Sri Ramakrishna's simple, convincing answers. He would become so intoxicated listening to the divine discourses that he would be reluctant to return home. He would forget all about the world, his family, and his duties. Much of this information is in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. As the days went by, Ram saw more and more of the Master's extraordinary powers. He was a leader in the local gymnasium, the theatre club, and other social organizations. People respected him for his character and integrity. Knowing Ram's faculty for leadership, Sri Ramakrishna called him captain, and he also sometimes consulted with him. Once Girish Ghosh, while in a drunken state, humiliated the master. The devotees were furious with Girish, but when Sri Ramakrishna told Ram about it, Ram defended Girish, suggesting to the master that Girish was like the serpent Kalya, who had nothing to offer Sri Krishna but its venom. Immediately, the master forgot about the incident and went with Ram to Girish's house to forgive him. Ram was free and frank with the master. Once Adhar Sen arranged a recital of the Chandi at his house in Calcutta and invited the master and many of the devotees. Ram somehow was overlooked. He became very upset when he heard about it and complained to the master. But Sri Ramakrishna replied, "Suppose he didn't invite you to his house? Why such a fuss about going to a place where the name of the Lord was sung? One may go unasked to participate in religious music. One doesn't have to be invited." The master had a wonderful sense of humor and would sometimes remove the seriousness of a situation or the misunderstandings of the devotees through a joke or by teasing them. This is a great lesson for us, as we tend to take simple things so seriously. As Master says, it is better to spend that time and energy in repeating God's name rather than be upset. On Sundays and holidays, many devotees would visit the Master at Dakshineshwar and ask him questions about spiritual life. Ram had a desire to preserve the Master's words, so he would always carry a pencil and paper with him. Sri Ramakrishna noticed Ram's sincerity and enthusiasm. One day the Master said to him, "Why do you take so much trouble? Later your mind will be your guru and will give you the proper guidance whenever you are faced with life's problems." After receiving this blessing from the Master, Ram stopped taking notes. In September 1885, Sri Ramakrishna moved to Shampur for his cancer treatment. Ram took an active part in the arrangements that were made for the Master's care. Sri Ramakrishna passed away on August 16, 1886. Ram was the first person to publish a biography of Sri Ramakrishna, to build a temple for the worship of the Master's relics, and to preach publicly that Sri Ramakrishna was an avatar. From 1893 to 1897, he gave 18 lectures on Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings at various theatres. These lectures created a sensation in Calcutta. In spite of the many duties connected with his job and his family, Ram's mind was always on the Master. God tests his devotees in many ways. A real lover of God is he who can overcome all temptations. Once a Calcutta merchant imported shiploads of kerosene oil from England. Before marketing the oil, he had to bring a sample to Ram for chemical analysis. After testing the oil 3 times, Ram found the oil was not up to standard and would not approve it for marketing. The merchant was deeply distressed, for it meant the loss of millions of rupees. He offered Ram a bribe, but Ram refused to accept it. Although Ram received many such offers in his life, he never deviated from truth. In 1898, he had a severe attack of dysentery. He also suffered from diabetes. His wife, friends, and disciples devotedly served him. In spite of the best available treatment and care, Ram's physical condition deteriorated. He experienced severe breathing difficulty, which led to chronic asthma. He would pass sleepless nights chanting the name of the Master. On January 17, 1899, Ram passed away. His body was cremated on the bank of the Ganga, and the relics were placed next to Sri Ramakrishna's temple. The lives of devotees like Ram inspire us Godward. They deepen our faith in God and help to increase our devotion to Him. May we too repeat God's name even in the midst of our busy schedules. Hari Om Tat Sat.
करारविन्दे पदारविन्दं मुखारविन्दे विनिवेशयन्तं वटस्य पत्रस्य पुतेशयानं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे नारायण वासुदेव जिह्वे पिबस्व अमृतमेतदेवं गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति विक्रेतु कामाखिल गोपकन्या विक्रेतु कामाखिल गोपकन्या मुरारी पादा Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Gruhe gruhe gopa vadhu kadam Gruhe gruhe gopa vadhu kadam Sarve militva samavapya yogam Punyani namani pathanti nityam Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Sukhyam sayanam nilaye nijepi, Sukham sayanam nilaye nijepi, Namani Vishnu pravadanti madhyaha, Te nishchitam tanmayatam rajanti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Jivve sadaivam bhaj sundarani, Jivve sadaivam bhaj sundarani, Namani Krishnasya manoharani, Samasta bhaktarti vinashanani, Samasta bhaktarti vinashanani, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, 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 Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala. भगवान की जय।
करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। संशय सकल मिटाय ज्ञान का होय उजारा रे। संशय सकल मिटाय ज्ञान का होय उजारा रे। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। मूर्त पूजन में मन लागे, मूर्त पूजन में मन लागे। कोटि न तीर्थ में फिर आवे, मन का भरम न जाए बिना सत्संग विचारा रे। मन का भरम न जाए बिना सत्संग विचारा रे। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। यज्ञ दान जप तप बहु भारी, यज्ञ दान जप तप बहु भारी। छाप तिलक माला गलधारी, ज्ञान बिना नहीं मोक्ष होय कर जतन हजारा रे। ज्ञान बिना नहीं मोक्ष होय कर जतन हजारा रे। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। करे अनेक कर्मा शुभ कोई, करे अनेक कर्मा शुभ कोई। सत्संगत सम फल नहीं होई, घड़ी पलक चिन्ह माही होय भव सागर पारा रे। घड़ी पलक चिन्ह माही होय भव सागर पारा रे। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। निश दिन हरि चर्चा जहाँ होई, निश दिन हरि चर्चा जहाँ होई। ब्रह्मानंद संग शुभ सोई, परमेश्वर के ध्यान भजन से हो निष्ठारा रे। परमेश्वर के ध्यान भजन से हो निष्ठारा रे। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म सफल हो जाए तुम्हारा। करो सत्संग प्यारा, जन्म Sri Ramakrishna Bhagavan ki jai.
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. Let us concentrate our minds on the beautiful form of God seated in our hearts. Sri Ramakrishna advises us, do not let worldly thoughts and anxieties disturb your mind. Do everything that is necessary at the proper time and let your mind be always fixed on God. Let us try to forget the outside world and feel supreme joy in God's presence for a few moments. A verse from Sri Ramakrishna Suprabhatam says, saluting your lotus feet in the morning easily removes the miseries of this world. Knowing this, the devotees devotionally take refuge at your feet. O Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, we adore you this holy morning. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Sarvesham Swastirabhavatu Sarvesham Shantirabhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukhabhag Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Mahamai ki Jai, Swami Ji Maharaj ki Jai, Ganga Mat ki Jai, Mahavir Swami Ji ki Jai, Sarva Rishi Muniyo ki Jai, Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Maha